We now move to our next session. Um, and this is our third talk of the day. And this is on a resilient and smart power distribution system. And I would like to introduce Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee, who will be the speaker for this session. Mr. Mukherjee is presently Executive Director of Distribution Technical in CSC Limited. He has 30 years of experience in the areas of transmission and distribution network planning and designing, commissioning, technology adoption, automation, and thermal power projects development. He is passionate about smart grid applications and is responsible for its deployment in CSE. Sir, welcome to Industry Forum of INDICON 2021, and over to you for your talk.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. I understand I am audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, then I'll try to share my presentation. Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good afternoon to all. I thank IEEE and the INDICON 2021 arrangers for allowing me to speak in this very prestigious event. Thank you very much. Today, I will talk on resilient and smart power distribution system. I think this is in line with, more or less in line with the INDICON theme, which is leveraging technology for a self-reliant and sustainable society. So I will talk on a resilient and smart power distribution system, and to make it very well connected with the audience, I'll talk on our own organization that I represent, which is CSC Limited, so that it is the what we do actually on resilient and smart power distribution system gets across quite well. So I'll start my presentation with a very brief snapshot on what was the yesterday's grade and what is the grade that is going to be tomorrow. In fact, it's no longer a tomorrow, it's already there. Yesterday's grade was large power plants, then centralized operations in the market, then long distance power transmission, unidirectional power flow in distribution, and all the consumers were passive. Now today the transformation that is happening is that at the generation level, there are smaller power producers in the market. It's decentralized operations. We all know that the energy market is now entirely transformed. In the transmission, it is decentralized. Midpoint injection is there. In distribution, there is bidirectional power flow, and consumers are no longer passive. They are also active. They have now become prosumers. They can generate their own power, making the distribution system even very, very complex, and it is going to become more complex as we go along. A very brief outline of CSC Limited, because we operate in and around Kolkata, Howrah, around 567 square kilometers. 3.4 million is our customer base. Generally, we handle 10,000 million units of sales. The peak demand that we have met till date is 2,337 megawatt. We have we have our own embedded generation. We have 220 kV. Starting from 220 kV, we have 137 to be specific, 137 substations, and we have our own optical fiber network. Now, why I have mentioned specially that we have our own optical fiber network will be clear as I go along. So this is where we are here, and we are there for the last 120 years. Though we are carrying a legacy, we are carrying a 120 years of legacy with us. We are one of the oldest, but with all humility, we may say that we are also one of the smartest utilities. We try to be future ready. We are open to all latest technology adoptions. We leverage digital penetration and sustainable technologies for a greener future. So we are nimble-footed, yet we are a legacy-driven organization also. Now, how can we think of getting transformed to a resilient and smart utility? The milestones that we may think of is that one is technology absorption, one is digitalization and immersive technologies, one is enhancing customer experience, and the other one is green initiatives and sustainability. Now, whatever we do is for continuous value addition to customers with optimization in cost, efficiency improvement in operation for 24/7 power supply, because 24/7 power supply is the basic need for the consumers. And in Calcutta, not even a minute of power cut is uh, allowable. So that is the standard that we are in. Now, going ahead, if we talk about a robust and resilient network, which is a very backbone of any utility, so what we, from starting from 220 kV level, because we are one of the only discom in the country which is having 220 kV as its distribution network. So we have our own network starting from 220 kV going down to 220 volts. So gas insulated switch gears we are using since the mid 90s. uh, Almost all stations we are using gas insulated switch gears. Slowly over time we have shifted from outdoor switchyards to gas insulated switch gears. We have a ring network, a 220 kV ring, a 132 kV ring, along with 33 kV cluster rings, so that any fault, any disturbance in one part of the network, the loads can be restored to the other parts very easily through our central SCADA. We have RMUs at strategic locations of our network. Now, all these things, why I say so, these render greater network reliability, these optimize and fully utilize the electrical network, and very fast network restoration, isolating the fault, so that restoration is very fast and it precipitates maximum value to the consumers. The other initiatives is that most of our network is underground because it's a metropolitan city. Very little overhead network we have. Slowly we are also getting those converted to underground. We are using, wherever it's not possible, we are utilizing AB cables replacing the pair conductors. We regularly do vegetation management, and we constantly do studies to study resiliency, to take action so that the network is resilient. Currently we are doing one such study with IIT Kharagpur. Now, the another part, I was till such time talking on one aspect of the network, which goes a long way in making the network resilient and robust. The other part, since we are operating in a metropolitan city where space is not there, space is not available. Even if it is available, it comes at a very high premium. Yet we have to upgrade our network. We have to augment our stations. We have to add stations, but adding stations is a challenge. So what we do is that within the same space, through prudent engineering, we upgrade the existing stations from 33 kV to 132 kV, or from 132 kV to 220 kV, so that in the same area, in the same footprint, we can handle more power, and we can always, the demand growth can follow our network addition, because that is another thing to remain resilient and robust. Now, what we have done in our pursuit for space consolidation is enabling lesser space requirement for capacity augmentation, as I was explaining before. See, we have standardized our design of multi-tier substations with GIS switchgear. That is, one building housing 220 kV switchyard, so switchgear, 132 kV switchgear, as well as 33 kV switchgear in the same building, so that it is taking very less space. Transformers are outside. Then we have done underground 132 kV substation. As this picture is visible, this is a live picture. We collaborated with the OEMs, so that we got gas insulated switchgear with top entry cables, as it is visible. So we do a lot of hand holding with OEMs. We are thankful to them. They understand our needs, and we co-create products. Then we have containerized substations which are portable. We can just build the plinth, bring the container and install it there. Time is very less. So compact design, easier future augmentation, and then lesser footprints, all these go a long way to make our network robust. Now some more such things. We have a transformers which have four windings, 132 by 33 by 11 and 6. Now 11 and 6, just before I forget, I want to mention that since we are a legacy organization, we have both 6 kV as well as 11 kV network in Calcutta. I don't think any other discom in the country has both 11 kV as well as 6 kV, and we are still maintaining both of these voltage levels. So we have developed with definitely OEMs transformers having four such windings because it takes very less space. We have GIS with inbuilt protection and control because the control and protection panels used to take up space separately. Additionally, now we are using gas insulated switchgear with inbuilt protection and control devices, gateways, so that it is directly integrated to the SCADA. Protection is already there inbuilt. Like it requires very little space. The other network element that we are currently adopting is that 132 by 33 kV transformers with unit coolers. Unit coolers means that as it is visible, the radiators, so-called radiators, are not there. In a footprint of a 50 MVA transformer, we can install a 100 MVA transformer, which requires very little space, and you can double up the capacity. So these are the things that we keep on doing. We adopt these kind of technologies. We constantly are in touch with the OEMs, the big manufacturers. They also understand our need. Designs are done in that way. So in the same space, we can go on creating a robust and resilient network. Now I come to the smartness part, because putting network in place alone will not serve the purpose of today's requirements for the consumers, because whatever asset we put on, all the assets must be utilized very prudently and uh, to its fullest capacity, so that my capital expenditure is justified. Because we are in a regulated business, electricity is regulated. Whatever expenditure we do flows into the tariff. We must be therefore very careful for any expenditure that we are doing, so that it is always value adding to the consumers. So in order to ensure that the assets are performing properly, digitalization and adopting digital technologies are very much required. Some of the technologies that we are using, we all know that these are all Industry 4.0 applications in power system. IoT sensors for real-time monitoring of the grid, harnessing the power of augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality for faster response time. Blockchain technologies, though we are now undergoing trials, it's not commercially there. Then the other technology is adoption of cloud technologies for storing data that all these SCADA, then smart meters, then the other monitoring devices throw up. Then innovations through data analytics, AI, ML, state of the art IT integrated infrastructure, then workforce automation, then utilizing the chatbots and voice bots for better customer experience. All these are the initiatives that we are currently doing for bringing more value to the consumers over and above 24/7 power supply. Now, this slide is more or less talking about the same Industry 4.0 applications, because again this is talking about, as you can see, better monitoring and what should I say, the better monitoring and control of the network assets to bring more value to the consumers. We do drone based monitoring, we do thermal camera based monitoring, we have self healing network in place. All our substations, 220 kV, 132 kV, have disturbance recorders for carrying out real time disturbance analysis and taking decisions. We have LT auto changeover for faster isolation and restoration for some important consumers and important points. We have a smart meter rollout. We have remote IoT sensors. Smart meter rollout we do as per use case basis, not whole hog, because mindful adoption of technology is another part that we are very careful about. Now, some immersive technologies that we are using to remain future ready. Uh, Visualization of relay data, protective devices data, and fault waveform through Microsoft HoloLens. Then bringing assets into virtual platforms, bringing live assets on mobility platforms, because we these numerical relays or the digital relays or the disturbance recorders, they gives push notification to mobile phones of our operating engineers, so that while on the move they can get auto alerts and auto waveforms on their mobiles, so that they need not wait for some information coming to them and then hooking on or connecting to the device and then getting the waveform. It's not required. It gives push notification, so that it comes auto to the mobiles. We are now working on digital twins and 3D modeling, so that our stations are visible from remote, and we can do any planning and engineering sitting at our offices without visiting the plants. Though scaling up, we are doing as per requirement, because we are conscious about the costs and the benefits that these investments bring in. As we all know, they say that data is now king. It is the new fuel for business today. So all data that we get, either from meters or from SCADA and any other IoT sensors that are there, we use the MI AI and ML based analytics. Then big data analytics we have also started. We are also working on some blockchain technology for peer-to-peer trading, though we are doing a small pilot. So we are also utilizing data to create business insights to bring more value. Currently, we are doing a POC under guidance of IIM Ahmedabad for peer-to-peer trading utilizing blockchain technologies. Now, the next part that I want to talk about is workforce automation, because we believe that the people who are working on ground, if they are enabled with data, they can make decisions on the edge. They need not always call up the offices or their seniors or supervisors for data. More and more, we are trying to make data available on their mobiles or tabs, so that they can take decision on the edge where they are working. Our meter reading and meter inspection is entirely tab based. There is no paper. The complaints come directly to the tabs. Whatever their findings are at site, it directly flows to the database, the central database, and decisions are taken there. There is no manual intervention. Metering on the go is one app which the supervisors use while carrying out inspection. Mobile EHV network disturbance data on mobile app, I've already spoken about. Then there is a crew management app. Uh, then decision and troubleshooting on the move, faster resolution, less manual intervention, manpower optimization are all the benefits that we try to get from this workforce automation. We have a smart outage management system in place. It is entirely homegrown. We have a GPS enabled fleet. We club the calls. All our HT and LT bulk consumers and DTRs are AMR metered. They have the capacity of generating auto outage alerts. All these are placed in a GPS platform, where which DTR is out, which HT consumer is out is visible. We can also locate the GPS enabled the breakdown van which is closest, so we can directly call them and ask them to go there. It's something like the Olas and Ubers. So this is homegrown. We are utilizing this. and we are one of the utilities which have LT fault management center also. Now, some customer experiences, some virtual office, some digital initiatives for the consumers. We call it high touch customer experience for a no touch world. The digital office, whatever consumers need is there in the digital office. New application, bill payment, upgradation, all the standard things are there. We have a 24/7 call center, which is IVRS enabled, auto docketing, supported by various algorithms running behind, multi-channel online payment systems, and increased customer convenience. More digital penetration is the way forward. The other digital services that are there is that the CSC app is there. Many consumers know they are using. We have a Wonder Mail, one-click option to view and pay bills. We have a WhatsApp bot. We have a chat bot named eBuddy, and multilingual voice bot is the next thing that is going to come. We are working on it. So all these are digital digital initiatives for the consumers, so that they need not come to our offices. They can, from the comfort of their homes or offices or while on the move, they can access us. They can let us know their needs. We can get back to them so that their requirements are met through digital initiatives. Now, we are also aware of the environment. Our green initiatives towards sustainability is the next thing that I'm going to talk about. I spoke about the this is the one. I spoke about space consolidation. Now, when we build substations, what we are today doing is that we are utilizing more and more pre-engineered buildings, so that time is fast, cost is less, dust pollution is not there, and it requires less footprint. All our consumers who intend to put up solar, we have a CFT in place to enable them, to guide them as to what to do, how they can synchronize with our grid, how to do metering. We guide them so that it's not a problem for them to bring in their solar generation. We have installed a battery energy storage system in our grid. It's 315 kWh grid connected battery storage. We are trying to understand the various technical nuances, and we are trying to do a modeling so that we can shave peak, because our afternoon peaks are very high, so that to cater to the peaks we need not continuously go on adding assets. So we can do some kind of peak shaving, we can do some kind of capex deferral. Then voltage regulation, frequency regulation, energy arbitrage. We can buy energy when it is cheap and get the battery charged. We can discharge it when power cost is high, all those kind of things. Then we are now working on a model so that we can also go for installing a grid scale storage, maybe 5 MWH, 10 MWH. We are not very sure. We are in talks with various agencies. We know, as we all know, battery storage is very costly. It requires very high space is not there in our city. So we are working with various technology providers, what to do, how to do, and to develop a good model, because it must be cost effective and it must ultimately bring value to consumers. We are also working on creating a microgrid at one of our substations. It will have a floating solar panels, because there is a water body. We will put a battery storage there along with the microgrid. It will take care of the substation loads, the lighting. It's just a very small pilot that we are thinking of, to understand the technology, understand the nuances, so that it can be scaled up later when the regulatory framework and the economics are correct. Then we must not be wanting. So that's why we want to be ready with all these technologies. Actually, the idea is always to be, to be abreast with technologies to bring maximum value to the consumers. We have our own EVs to go around. We have in in collaboration with KMC, put up charging stations in Calcutta, though not high in numbers, but we have started the initiative. Around 80 electric buses are plying in and around Calcutta. 1,000 more are going to come. We are providing charging infrastructure to the bus depots so that WBTC can put up their chargers there. So everything is getting enabled slowly for this EV ecosystem. We are promoting e-cooking. We have partnered with KMC, with Credai, and then we constantly, wherever possible, we try to promote e-cooking because it is safe, it is ultimately economic. We are also in talks with some petrol pumps with the oil giants, so that at their pumping at their pumps we can install EV charging stations. We are engaging with EV manufacturers for in-house fleet changeover. We are already using some e-bikes for captive use, though it is not in very high scales, but we are actually starting to change over our fleet to electric. We are advocating for changes in the building rules and policies so that some amount of space is kept aside for EVs and EV chargers. All these things we are doing with the authorities. And the journey continues. The idea is that while a solid network, very good asset base, healthy assets are needed, but to provide good value to the consumers and to be resilient and smart, adoption of these new technologies are also required. So we constantly endeavor to use correct assets, to use assets correctly, monitor them, control them properly, so that ultimately nothing is wasted. Assets are used properly, maintained in good health, and ultimately the consumers get good value. Thank you. As of now, I think within 30 minutes I've finished. I don't have any other slide. I'll be happy to take questions. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir, and thank you for delivering this lecture. Audience is requested if anybody wants to raise hand or chat their questions in the Q&A box.
Ma'am, we have one question for Indrajit sir, but sir answered, so I just aired into the Q&A session, that tab.
Okay. So we don't have any further questions right now. So if we have further questions coming in, we will pass it on to Mr. Mukherjee. So Ruchika, over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, all the wonderful speakers, for the wonderful deliberations. And we got to know so much things about which I was not known before attending this session. Thank you so much, sir.